Good evening. I'm meteorologist Ron Childers alongside meteorologist Eric Brill, and we're joined by digital desk producer extraordinaire Lydian Coombs.
Hello.
We are here with you tonight to talk about all things weather. It is a first alert weather day, and wow, what a day it has been. The entire Action News 5 coverage area inundated with rainfall today. And Eric, I woke up to it, and it's still coming down.
Yeah, especially after the clock went to the back half of the day, after the noon hour. We really did see it pick up here throughout Memphis, and really ever since about noon, it's been coming down at a pretty consistent rate here, in which I know at the station we're at about 3 3/4 of an inch worth of rain, and at Memphis International we're already above 4 inches of rain. So I'm sure throughout a lot of Shelby County that's the case, where some of those rain totals are at 3 inches or higher, and of course there are some places that are at 4 inches or higher. So
we have a flood warning as well for
yes.
Shelby County, DeSoto County. We'll take a closer look at those in a moment. Lydian, you've been combing all the digital platforms throughout the day. What kind of video you've been seeing from this?
Well, we've seen some storm damage today, some fallen trees, some flooding. Griffin Demaray, he went out throughout the Mid-South and it combed the streets to see what he could find. He had a story that ran earlier this evening on that. You can see that on our website. But yeah, surely a lot of things you don't want to see with this kind of weather.
We have been fortunate in that we've not dealt with any significant wind damage here. We've had some gusts. As a matter of fact, at the top of the 6 o'clock hour, we had a 51-mile-an-hour gust at Memphis International. That's been the highest so far. The low pressure center itself slowly inching north. This thing's going to stick around, Eric, throughout the day tomorrow and well into the weekend.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on this weekend, and it will likely be impacted by the weather.
Yeah, unfortunately, you never really like to see the timing of that overlap some big events that we have going on here throughout the Mid-South. But
so we're with you tonight on all of our streaming platforms. We're on Amazon Fire, Roku, Apple TV, on the Action News 5 app there. You can watch us right now on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app or Action News 5 News app. And Lydia, we're on YouTube.
Yes, that's right.
We're on all the digital
yes.
platforms. Now we're also on Facebook Live right now as well.
Yes. And if you have any questions, you can drop them below, and we'll keep track of them and try to answer as many as we can.
She is going to be our question moderator, but I tell you what, Eric and I are going to delve right into it. So again, a first alert weather day today. Let's take a look at the big picture here. Look at the rainfall amounts. Eric, you want to talk more about that?
sure, we definitely, as noted, have seen quite a bit in the way of rain here across the Mid-South. And worthwhile to note, as far as you see some of those zeros that are on the board for Holly Springs and Oxford over towards Wynn, Dyersburg, Blytheville, those sites unfortunately are down right now. And I think well, even towards Tunica, it's the same idea too. But look at Memphis International at over 4 inches of rain. West Memphis actually have been ahead of Memphis International for quite some time here, so the actual city itself able to get ahead.
I would venture to guess Holly Springs has had at least 2.5 inches of rain. We saw some heavy bands coming down, and wasn't there a band there that looked like it was producing close to 6 inches an hour?
Yeah, just to the north of it there. So I would actually be surprised if Holly Springs even exceeded 4 inches an hour, especially on the northwest side of town. Now, so what we are looking at on the Doppler radar side of things right now, that given batch of rain that is on the heavier side here, it has started to swing to the north here of Holly Springs. But if you look over towards Hardeman County, towards Bolivar, that's where you are starting to see kind of that next little batch of heavier rain scoot itself towards. And if there's any sort of good news about that, that area can sustain a little bit more heavy rain than some areas to the west, because it hasn't been raining quite as hard or quite as consistent as other parts of the Mid-South have seen. And the rain here into Memphis, at least, has been able to slow itself down ever so slightly, especially towards the southeastern side of town. But notice kind of inside of 240 right now, heading towards Midtown, really, for that matter. We are still seeing some of that more organized and heavier activity with some of those yellows on your screen here. So not the best of evenings to be out and about traveling here across the Mid-South, but of course, you still have to do it from time to time. Here's what Ron was talking about as far as some of those heavier rain totals are concerned here, especially off to the east and to the northeast for that matter, seeing some of those rain rates above that of 1 inch per hour. And notice that's a pretty big area of green there. So if you get one of those bands to sit on top of you for the span of half hour to 45 minutes, it's pretty easy to pick up that 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain here. And well, at least into Memphis itself, we're starting to see that band just to the west or to the left of 55 starting to scoot itself to the north here too. So definitely have seen some heavier rain bands here across the region. But the hope is that we're going to start to see some drier conditions build on in here as we head deeper into tonight, just because you know this, Ron, we have seen quite a bit in the way of rain here across the Mid-South through the span of the day. So.
Yeah, we will see some drier air start to wrap into that core. You can still see light to moderate rain across much of northeastern Arkansas and even north of the 40 corridor in West Tennessee. Lydian, can you switch us over to Max 1? Because I want to take a look at the big picture. The low pressure center itself, still just to our south. But that is going to be making a slow move to the north, and that's going to bring that circulation through the area. So what we're seeing now, the surface low is to the south of us. The upper level low is to our north and east. So think of it as kind of an elongated tube of sorts. Yep. So you've got a portion of it that's down here at the surface, and then aloft, that's where you're seeing that counterclockwise swirl now make its way into parts of eastern Arkansas. Yep. But we're also starting to see some heavier bands that are developing just to the east of 61 from DeSoto County. I don't know why it did that. But let me show you this. We've got a flood warning, or flood watch, excuse me, in effect for northern Mississippi. That's going to be until 10 o'clock tonight. But the National Weather Service now extending the flood watch into northeast Arkansas, West Tennessee until 1 a.m. That includes Memphis and Shelby County. There's all that rain Eric was talking about moments ago, and I tell you what, there has been quite a bit of it, and it's still coming down pretty good. There's a severe thunderstorm, or excuse me, a flood warning for Shelby County
and DeSoto County.
One for the city of Memphis, and it does include the 240 loop, and South Haven, mainly along the 55 corridor. That's going to be in place until 10:15 tonight. And then we've got another one for Collierville and Olive Branch. That goes until 10. Look at this. As Eric mentioned, over 4 inches of rain so far, 68 and still raining. We've got a southeast wind. That's at 16 miles per hour. Now, I'm going to talk more about the winds in a moment, but I want to give you your first alert to what this rain is going to do for the rest of the night. I think we're going to see the heavier bands along the Tennessee River and just to the east, but that may start to inch a little farther west as we get into the overnight, and I think we'll certainly see that during the day tomorrow. But by midnight tonight, the bulk of the precipitation will still be in northeast Arkansas with just scattered showers around West Tennessee, northern Mississippi. But tomorrow morning at 8, many of us could be waking up to rain, including Memphis and Shelby County, especially along and west of the river. But you see those areas to the east? That's those downpours we're seeing tonight. They're going to start to make a push a little more to the west, and that could lead to some impressive rainfall amounts for parts of northeast Mississippi, West Tennessee. Eric, yesterday you and I were talking about the potential for up to 10 inches of rain for that very area, and those are the downpours that could bring those in tomorrow.
Right, exactly. So that's going to be the big thing to really keep an eye on as we start to turn the page over to Friday. And unfortunately, as I did say earlier, a lot of those areas, they haven't seen as much rain as we've seen into that of Shelby County, DeSoto County, Marshall County. And that's a good thing that those areas haven't seen as much rain, so this way they could sustain it a little bit better here. And keep in mind when it does come to kind of those little disturbances with, I've been calling that kind of a tail here more than anything else. Those have the ability to drop some real quick rain and pretty heavy rain over the span of not much time whatsoever. And at least here into Memphis, we have seen those rain rates between about 3/4 of an inch to half an inch an hour at times. And fortunately, not too much flooding yet, but we do have those flash flood warnings in place.
And just to give you an idea of what he's talking about today, right around noon, I checked my rain gauge at home. I had 0.14 of an inch of rain. Get ready for work. About to walk out the door around 1:30. And in that 90 minutes, I had 1.25 inches of rain.
There you go.
We had a heavy downpour over the house, and it just sat there for about 45 minutes. Dropped a tremendous amount of rain and picked it up quickly. So that's the scenario. That's what we're looking at, and that's possible anywhere in the Mid-South. Now, one of the saving graces thus far, we've had no isolated tornadoes. We were concerned about that in our eastern counties. Yeah, knock on wood with that. But we've seen nothing in the way of tornadoes or even little Doppler radar indicated spin-ups. That's good news. Again, that low pressure center weakening, now a post-tropical cyclone, still with tropical characteristics, but not nearly as intense as it was when it was approaching. So it will continue to lose momentum, but there's still going to be that counterclockwise swirl. We're now also seeing Atlantic moisture begin to mix in from the southeast coast, and Gulf moisture, and all that's going to collide. Let's go back to Futurecast. Let me show you how things are going to play out from around 4 tomorrow afternoon. This is on Max 1. We are looking at, again, still downpours, still scattered showers, so we're not going to be out of the woods by any means in the way of rain, and this could have an impact on Friday football fever.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was
Yeah.
literally about to allude to that here. We over towards Mississippi County, if you head to any sort of games that are going on up there, just be aware, and there's your first alert for the day. You might be contending with some of those here. And really, that's the case throughout all the Mid-South. It's not necessarily a cold front moving itself from the northwest to the southeast where it becomes pretty evident as to the timing of this. A lot of these showers are just going to kind of pop up, and they're just going to linger around here for a little bit. So it might be dry when you head out the door, but that certainly doesn't mean it's going to be the case. And that's really throughout the day on Friday. So as you leave, good idea to grab the jacket or the umbrella.
And this is going to linger into Friday night, overnight, and I think on into the weekend. Now, how much additional rain are we talking about? We're still on track to pick up an additional inch here in Memphis. Higher amounts, again, along and north of the 40 corridor, but parts of northern Mississippi could see an additional inch to even close to 3/4 of an inch in a few areas there. Now, wind, that's also been a concern. We've got a wind advisory until 1 a.m. for the entire area. Right now, sustained winds are about 15 to 20 miles per hour, which we were expecting throughout the night. A little bit of a lull around Oxford and Potts Camp with winds less than 10 miles per hour, but we've also seen gusts in those very same areas of 25 to 27 miles per hour. We had a 36 mile an hour wind gust at the airport at the top of the hour, and notice those winds. Look at the little triangles there.
Right.
Just before the wind speed, that gives you an idea of the rotation that's going on. So in Oxford, we've got a south wind. In Memphis, we've got a south wind. But you get into Harrisburg, there's a northeast wind. So it's that circulation wrapping around. I think from now until about 9 tonight, we'll see our strongest gusts should start to dissipate as we get to around 11. And by the time the advisory expires at 1 a.m., I don't see a need to extend that.
Agreed.
But those winds will still be breezy,
Right.
but not nearly as gusty. You can keep up with it on the Action News 5 First Alert weather app. Put that on your smartphone or tablet. It's free for Apple and Android products. And so I want you to have that. You're going to get the hour-by-hour forecast, that interactive radar. Scan that QR code. It'll take you right to it. Lydian, how are we doing? Anybody got any good questions? I want to talk about the weekend coming up, but any questions we've got
Yes,
tonight we need to address right now?
Let's take a look. Some people are asking about wind and if schools are closed tomorrow, which, by the way, we do have an up-to-date list on our website of school closings. What you'll do is go to the weather tab, and you'll see it right there, a banner that says school closings, and that'll have an up-to-date list if you're looking for those.
Good deal.
But as far as other questions, someone's asking about tornado threat in North Mississippi tomorrow.
And Patrick was a little concerned about that too. He left today. We're all on 12-hour shifts right now, so we're kind of overlapping each other. But we were still concerned. I'm going to stay here until 2 a.m. Patrick's going to meet me here at 2. Just because there's still going to be the potential.
Right.
Those little outer bands, that's when we could see some spin-ups. But I've been very encouraged by the fact that we've seen nothing thus far.
Don't say it too loud.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx us, but we knew that going into the evening there would be a good possibility of it. But also historically, we've only had 2 warnings, I believe, in Alabama, and
There hasn't been many.
They did not verify; they were
Right.
just Doppler radar indicated. So there has been very, very little in the way of tornadic activity. So that is a plus. But now let's focus on the weekend because there's a lot going on. We got the Southern Heritage Classic, Cooper Young Festival. It's iffy for this weekend. A lot of people. We're talking about 100,000 coming to
Right.
Cooper Young Festival. You're looking at about, what is the Liberty Bowl hold now?
Tens of
30,
thousands.
40,000 in
Yeah,
the
just
Liberty
tens
Bowl?
of thousands
So,
at least.
Yeah, that's a sellout every game, but you're talking about more than 100,000 people could be affected just here in the Midtown area. So let's check that out, shall we? I want to take a look at the precipitation trend. So tomorrow, of the next 7 days, tomorrow's the most likely for rain, but we increased our rain chances for Saturday and Sunday, and we're still going to be dealing with the effects of this into the beginning of next week as rain chances extend into Monday. But more specifically for your weekend, 40% chance of rain. And Eric, Some of the data I was looking at this evening would even lead me to think
Yeah.
60%, but
Never 50.
we're not going to go. No, we don't go 50%. That's a coin toss. Look, but I'm thinking that I am thinking that there's definitely going to be rain around the area this weekend. So let's do it. Let's take a closer look. Let me show you what we're talking about, all right? So we're going to be near 70 or 80 both days, 40% chance both days, but the weekend futurecast looks like this. 8 o'clock Saturday morning, the better chance for rain should be east of us, northern Alabama, northeast Mississippi, middle Tennessee, and along the Tennessee River. But as we get into the day, we get that daytime heating taking shape.
Despite the fact
of
that the
moisture.
clouds being around, we're still going to have that high chance of it happening with the showers.
And you're going to notice it's very
Yes.
humid too. So a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and then the remnants of the system just still lingering over us. So it's going to keep the potential for rain in play for the afternoon and evening hours. Then overnight, Saturday night into early Sunday, I think we're dry but cloudy. However, as we get into the day and that daytime heating, Eric, we're looking at more showers popping up for Sunday afternoon that could linger into Sunday evening, then tapers off after sunset. A diurnal pattern, as we call it. Now let's talk temperatures, because we're looking at low 70s Friday. We'll be in the upper 70s Saturday. We'll get back to around 80 on Sunday and Monday. Then low to mid 80s as we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I do believe we've got a drier pattern coming by the middle of the week. Even though we're keeping a slight chance for a shower, I think Wednesday is going to be dry. It should be dry Thursday. And just to give you a first alert and something to look forward to, next weekend is looking really good with sunshine and temperatures in the mid and upper range of the 80s. We're going to be talking more about that coming up tonight on Action News 5 at 10. Eric's been glued to the radar all day long. He'll have some new radar analysis to share with us. And of course, we'll have the latest forecasts and updates for what to expect for the next 24 hours, and take another look at that 10-day forecast too in the weekend. You put some stuff on the Action News 5 First Alert weather app. You got a video on there. What's in it?
Yeah, just as far as what we have going on here, as far as the updates with the flash flood warnings, and just a little bit of radar analysis, and really what we kind of are looking at here between that and the rest of today and into tomorrow. Unfortunately for the weekend, it doesn't look like we're going to see the best of weather conditions. The good news is it isn't a washout, but really between noon and 8 p.m., between both Saturday and Sunday, that's when we do have that best chance of rain, especially between about 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. So just kind of a TLDR, as the kids say. Too long, didn't read. Just, get from A to B as quick as possible.
I had no idea what he was talking about with that. Good job
You're
today,
one of the hip
though.
kids, though.
Yeah, I try to be. But good job today. And having
Hey, you too, pal.
your tropical knowledge from your times in East Texas is coming very handy. And I got to give props to Maggie McCallie and Patrick Ellis.
Yes.
They worked a long, long day from the early morning hours today and just really did a great job tracking this. Forecast is playing out as we anticipated. I'm hoping we're wrong for the weekend.
Right.
I don't think we are.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be rain around the area. So Cooper Young will make a decision at 6 a.m. Saturday morning as to whether or not they will move the festival to the next day. Right now, Sunday may be a better day.
Right.
So we'll see on that. And, of course, we'll keep you updated. And, Lydian, as far as things go on our web and our social media sites and pages, where's the one place people need to go right now when they want all this information? Where's the best spot?
Our homepage. Our homepage will have the most important information ready for you at the top. You won't have to go digging for it. But if you want to learn more, if you need more about the weather, just click on the weather tab. There'll be more information there. You can see the radar, etc. If you want more news, just go to the news tab and you'll see more information there. A lot of weather-related content is in the news tab right now. If you go there, you'll see things like school closures are being discussed, impact on Mid-Southerners, what they have to say. Things of that nature.
And there's some pretty good video too of the flooding that took place down in Louisiana as the storm came on shore. There was some impressive video today, and I say impressive. It was actually just, I wish I'd never seen it. Somebody driving into a flooded road, went around a barrier, put their lives in danger and the life of the person who ultimately had to save them. But that's on our website too, right?
Yes. In fact, the top stories from the stations in those heavily impacted areas in Louisiana included, we carry those stories on our site as well. So you can get it straight from them on our website. as well.
Lydigan, you are awesome. Thank you for keeping us up to date on
Thank
all
you.
things digital. It's great to have you on our chat tonight. Eric, again, great job. We're going to regroup and be back for Action News 5 at 10. We're going to bring you all the day's news. Joy Redmond, Joe Birch will be along with that. We've got reporters out in the field, a lot going on. So I invite you to join us for that. But I also encourage you to download the Action News 5 news app and First Alert Weather app. You can find them both in your app stores for Apple and Android products. They are free. Great tools to have. And if you're going to be out and about this weekend, that weather app is an absolute must. So have a great night. Enjoy yourself. Look, we'll go back on the Facebook page a little later on this evening. If there are some questions that we didn't get to there, we'll try to answer those. But in the meantime, have a great night. Joyce Peterson's got something for me here. 37,000 power outages
throughout the span of the day.
Up and down. So more than 37,000 homes and businesses experienced a power outage today with MLG.
Gotcha.
All right,
So
good deal.
if you didn't hear that, folks, it's 37,000 people or 37,000 customers that have had power outages throughout the day. So we're hoping that number is going to go down. And with the winds tailing off here throughout the rest of the night, hopefully that will continue.
Wow. Hang in there, folks. We'll get through it. Unfortunately, it's been good so far with the exception of the rain and some minor winds. Let's hope that continues for the rest of the night. We'll see you on Action News 5 at 10, and hopefully not before.